YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Welcome to my review for Digimon Ghost Game Episode 2. So I felt very similarly about this episode as I did to the last one, where it didn't blow me away or anything, but it wasn't awful. It was just straight up enjoyable. I honestly just enjoyed myself, but there wasn't anything like, oh my god, this is so good. But it was just enjoyable. I'm enjoying myself. And as I mentioned last week, it's not like it's the spookiest show ever, but the general theme of it really makes it the perfect type of show to debut around this time of year, around the Halloween spooky time of year, especially this episode because we're dealing with Gammamon and mummies are kind of a classic horror creature we use a lot. And it wasn't like it was the spookiest episode either, but it's just the whole vibe of it just really works for debuting this time of year, and I think that's really neat. So in this episode, we effectively have two different things going on. We have this of the week plot with Gammamon, who's basically going around kidnapping people and wrapping them up because he's like a Digimon doctor, I guess. And he thinks that the way to heal people is to make them mummies, because he thinks that's the way that ancient Egyptians did it because they believed in reincarnation after that or something. And he has to be shown that that's not the right way to do it. And it's not as antagonistic as Clockmon last week, where he's still clearly a villain. At the end of the episode, they come to a truce and he realizes he was wrong. And he goes off on his own. And I presume we'll probably see him again. Maybe we're going to be building a roster of Digimon friends like we do an adventure and stuff like that. But it made for, a fine of the week plot. Like I said, the general mummy theme kind of works just for the Halloween time of year. And the other thing going on was pretty much just getting Hiro used to taking care of Gammamon. I was a little unsure how I was going to respond to Gammamon last week because he's a little bit babyish, but I found him to be really adorable and endearing this week. I just really enjoyed him in this episode, and I enjoyed his dynamic with Hiro in this episode. Especially there was one scene where he's going around town and he has him in his backpack, but people think he's an AR hologram, and he's telling people it's an AR hologram, but then when they go to touch him, he's got to get out of the way because then they'll realize it's an actual creature. And they're in this store at one point, and this lady tries to pet him, or not pet him, but put her hand through him, thinking oh, it's an AR thing. And he dodges out of the way, and then as they're running away, Gammamon's because he wanted to be petted. I don't know. I just thought it was adorable. I thought it was an endearing episode for their dynamic. And he's clearly trying to figure out, not Gammamon, but Hiro's clearly trying to figure out more about the digital world and about his dad. He even asks Gammamon if he's heard of his dad and how to get to the digital world. And so that's clearly going to be an ongoing thing. And we get our first Digivolution form from Gammamon when he's in danger, when Hiro's in danger, and he digivolves to Betelgammamon or something? I can't remember the name of it, but he digivolves into it. It's a pretty neat form, pretty neat first Digivolution. The Digivolution sequence is pretty neat. And, it made for just an all-around enjoyable episode. It was kind of a slow burn continuation of introducing us to Hiro and Gammamon and the first Digivolution and our first of the week plot. And I do appreciate the time this series is taking. I was surprised we didn't delve more into the other characters. We ended off on a nice note where we teased our main female character being followed by her Digimon, so that was a nice little, teaser. We did see our other primary male protagonist one more time. We saw him once or twice in last week's episode, but he's just kind of popping up. And I have to say, again, it's a little weird sometimes to not establish things quickly when you have these 3-minute long opening themes that show you everything and you know what's going to happen, but then the show does this slow burn, you don't know who's going to be the main character. I always find that weird, but setting the theme song aside, since I never watched the openings anyway, I like the slow burn. I like the pacing. I like that we're slowly being introduced to the world. I like that we're slowly kind of getting used to the characters, and we kind of had time to get used to the status quo and Hiro and Gammamon before we start building the team. And for me, that helps me get into the show a lot more. It helps me get a footing into caring about the characters in the world when I feel we take our time with it. So I really like that. So, short review, but I would give this episode a 3 out of 5. Again, I thought it was just very solid and enjoyable, and I'm hoping that it continues to be enjoyable. And I just hope it's not too episodic to the point where it gets a little bit boring. That's my only worry, but otherwise I'm enjoying it. But what did you guys think of the first episode and the first Digivolution? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications for more videos like this and more. Dawson Ryder, signing out.